Hey folks, today I want to talk about the origin story of Deckoviz, of how it came to be. It started all of 15 months ago when I'd moved to this new location, this new home, apartment, and the walls were completely empty. And I was in a pretty peculiar state of mind. I'd been on the road for the last few months on a vacation. The intention of this vacation was to help me find the thing that I could really devote the next 5 to 10 years of my life to, feel really passionate about, something that where I could create new technologies, new products, new user experiences, and something I could operate at the scale of impacting millions of people. And for the last many months, for the last 12 months, I'd drawn a blank on all those fronts. Well, I mean, I have found things which would tick some of those boxes, but wasn't able to find something which would tick all of those boxes. I needed something of that sort. So when I moved to this new place, I wouldn't say anxious, but I was in a burdened state of mind because I was running out of time. In my mind, there's this metaphorical window which is closing rapidly. It's closing even now. And I need to find something very, very soon. And so I moved to this new apartment, and the thing that was most conspicuous by its absence was art, was vividity. On the road, the thing that was missing was my muse, right? Wasn't able to find that inspiration. And when I moved to this new place, which was that that lack of inspiration, that lack of muse, became 100 times louder in my mind. And once you're in this kind of a state, you start thinking a lot about the mega trends in your mind, right? What are the things that you find fascinating? What are the things that you're drawn towards? What are the things that you want to see more of in your own world and in the broader world? And one of the things that came to the fore in my mind was art, right? And the power of art. And I had a long fascination with art for a long, long time. When I used to draw all sorts of things. I used to draw weird stuff all of the time. Like, that was something that was a big part of my life, and it wasn't a massive part, but it was something I'd spent a considerable amount of time thinking about and, well, bring to life, right? Like, what was in my mind. And I understood the power of art in general, and being able to make us feel deeply, and being able to make us think deeply and think differently and look at the world through a different lens, help us inhabit different states, and helping us become more attuned to and more understanding of the outer world and the inner world, or the inner space, right? Which is where the space comes in, the outer space and the inner space. We'll get to that. And so that was one of the themes that was very prominent in my mind at the time. Also had a lot of different epiphanies regarding art and the changing landscape, the changing nature of it, the changing nature of consumption and media and content creation and all of that. With the more consequential insights I had, realizations I had, was the statement: the best art is personalized art. And I know this is going to rub some people off the wrong way, but bear with me as I explain the meaning behind this. Art is so powerful, and yet most people do not experience the true power of art. Right, for most people, it's seen as this abstract thing. It's seen as something of an elite affair. It's seen as something of a, it's almost like an ethereal thing, right? Something that they can't really touch, they can't feel, they can't create. And I realized that there are some trends which are pushing us towards the world, like with cameras, right? Everyone became a photographer, and we saw, people have such an innate talent for photography. Art is another thing of that sort, where, when we're a kid, most people draw something, and most of those drawings, they might not have aesthetic value, they might not be technically great pieces of work, but they're still rife with meaning, right? They're rich with meaning, rich with some sort of beauty. And so art in a way lies in all of us except the psychopaths, because to be human is to feel, and to feel is to create, and to create is to have art in you, right? You just need a medium to kind of bring it to life. Photography, again, similar kind of thing. With art, you needed to have been trained in the classical school where you would paint. You'd have to learn how to draw these perfect, exact sketches of the human form and the architectural form and structures, all of that, right? With what's happening right now, which is super exciting. We're going to talk about that a bit more. For the first time, the average person can bring to life the art that is in them, right? The vision that's in them, the their emotions can be transmuted into something very visual, something very potent, something very concrete and grounded, which is simply not possible. And this is where the power of AI comes in, right? Where it amplifies, it lowers the barrier of entry to art. And when I say art, to many people it might sound like, art, right? It's just something, I don't have anything to do with art. But again, the point I'm making here is that if art can become personalized, if art can be made personalized, it's literally for every single person. And that was the thing that stuck out to me the most, that I had this particular epiphany about the best art being personalized, and personal art for that matter. And this is where one of the seeds of society has started to emerge in my mind, right? Where I was starting about democratizing access to platforms where you can help people with self-expression and with pace setting, which are the two most powerful utilities of art, right? They help you inhabit your desired states, or they help you inhabit certain other states that have their own utility, and they help you express yourself the way words could never. And they help you make sense of the world the way words could never help you. When I started thinking about the power of such a platform which could democratize access to art, personal art, for people at scale, the scale of millions and billions of people, it was a no-brainer. I also had no interest in solving business problems, and sometimes to my own sometimes to my own detriment, right? Had I chosen B2B problems to solve, yeah, it would have been easier. But I don't want to solve those kinds of problems. I want to solve the fundamentally human problems. What are the technologies that we can build? That's the first question. What are the technologies that we can build to help people lead more intentional, more adventurous, more purposeful, more inspired lives, and building technology that can help us expand the scope of consciousness, that can help us ask better questions and find better answers to the questions that are an evolving part of our life's tapestry. The technology that I want to build, the company that I want to build, that I want to devote my life to, is one where I can help people design these kinds of lives and help them become more attuned to the inner worlds, the inner spaces, to their relationships, to their work, to their purpose, to their experiences, helping see more moments of joy and love and wonder and beauty and meaning in their lives. Those are the things that I want to be doing. I want to be operating at the highest level of the hierarchy of needs, helping get people actualize a potential, which sounds very hippie, but one of my core theses is that, to me it's just intuitive, right? These are the kinds of problems that I want to be solving. And once we get into the post-AGI world, like most of the business problems, they'll almost be solved by default, right? So there's no business case to be made for spending any time in those kinds of problems as such. But even if there was, that's not where I would be. That's not what I would be attracted towards. I want to be helping us build utopia, for lack of a better descriptor, and build a technology that can help us achieve those goals. Because technology can be an amplifier when directed to the right things, and technology can also help us discover what those right things are, in a way, inside of us and outside of us. And so this was another notion of building such a company such as Deckoviz, where you'd be such an integral part of people's lives, and you'd be seeding people's moments and days and lives with such emotional states. Nothing could be more noble than that. I also started thinking a lot about, when I just moved to this new apartment, which was a block of empty space, right? Pretty much. I started thinking a lot about space, and a lot of these discussions were happening at the subconscious level. I wasn't even writing about these things, but now in hindsight, when I think back to that time, I realized I had started thinking a lot more about space because you don't have any distractions when you just move to a new location, a new apartment without anything, right? Nothing at all. Like, I also had spent considerable time thinking about the inner space. In moving to the space, started making me think a lot more about the outer space and the relationship between the two spaces, right? And started thinking about how we first design our outer spaces and then the influence of inner spaces. And I started thinking a lot about the design of spaces in places like schools and restaurants and offices and hotels and stuff. And that was very much front of mind for me during this period of my life. I started asking myself, what if our spaces could inspire us and move us and make us feel and make us think, and they could be attuned to our emotional needs, our moods and our lifestyle, and they could adapt to us, and they could help us inhabit our desired states and moments. Our spaces as of now are completely static, but imagine walls, imagine spaces that understand your daily rhythms. In the morning they wake you up with birdsong, and during the evening they set up a romantic ambience for your connection ritual with your partner, your dinner ritual. And during the night time they create a multi-sensory experience that helps you ground yourself and that helps you relax and unwind so you can get ready for the night. I love taking leaps into the future, 10-year leap, 20-year leaps. Think about how different particular aspects of our lives are going to be changed. And as the walls are dynamic, they are evolving according to our moods, and that make us feel and that make us think, and they're adapted to our lifestyle and how we want to live. Also had a strong thesis around personalized AI, partly because I was working on designing such cognitive architectures. This was a huge thing that I was invested in. And I started thinking about the ways AI is going to be, especially AGI, is going to be incorporated into our lives as, I wouldn't call it agents. That kind of reduces the impact that these AIs are going to have. But these AIs, essentially, they would be like a lifelong companions, and they'd be incorporated into every single facet of our life, helping us lead better, deeper, richer lives. Also had some strong models around where personalized and generative AI was going. I had this realization that the best media, most of the media consumption in the future is going to be personalized consumption, like personal art, and it's going to be tailored towards you. It's going to, with the best content being that which moves you the most, mediated by an intelligent AI layer that would filter out anything that doesn't conform to what you want to see. And again, when I started thinking about the architecture, what I had as the seedling with Deckoviz started to take more and more shape, because I started realizing that Deckoviz, with the form factor I had in mind, would be perfectly suited to something of this kind of an architecture that I thought, and I still firmly believe, is going to be the future of consumption, right? Where you're going to have a funnel, and at the top of the bottom of the funnel, but the interface is going to be this AI that understands what you seek from your media consumption, and it's going to curate. It's also going to be generative. It's going to be creative. It's going to create the stuff that it thinks is the best for you. And Deckoviz adapts very well to this kind of an architecture that I think it's so powerful, right? A completely new modality of experiencing art and media and content. And so all these intertwining threads came together those 15 months ago, and the eureka moment came, and thus was born the smart and dynamic art frame, the platform that's designed to help people enter their desired states and moods and worlds. And so here we are. And we're in the cusp of something very special. I'm not just saying this for example-ing but I'm saying this because I think this is going to change the way people live, the way people interact and engage with their spaces. And it's going to add so much more beauty and meaning and joy to people's lives. And I could not be more excited to be bringing this to the world. This is a part of an ecosystem. This is not a simple single product, but it's a part of an extended ecosystem that will become the ultimate space setting and state setting and self-expression platform. With this, it could become a core part of people's lives and a conduit to the states and the moments that they seek more of in life. And that, serving more joy and love, beauty and meaning, is as good as it gets. And so that in a nutshell is the origin story. I'll just make a brief mention of where we are going as a company. So again, going back to our mission statement, which is to build at the edge of what's becoming possible, to help people inhabit states of joy and infuse people's spaces with more joy and love and wonder and beauty and meaning. There's so much more to be building. We've got a really super exciting ecosystem of products that we plan to launch over the next 12 months. And this is a greenfield. This is an open canvas. There's just so much you can do in this new category of what we call mood setting or space setting tech. And we could not be more excited to be doing the work that we're doing. Thank you for the time. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.